G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a video that I've wanted to make for a little while, and I think now is the perfect time to make this video. There are going to be a lot of you who are not going to like this video. There's going to be a lot of disagreements in the comments, and you can do that because everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But today, we're going to be talking about what's wrong with the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
To entertain house.
Okay, so there are a number of factors wrong with this club right now, but I haven't seen a club at turmoil level this bad in a long time. Now, I speak about this being not just the 2024 season and the expectation that was on them in pre-season. I'm talking about the fact that from their last 16 games, and let's not forget that South Sydney were at the top of the ladder last season at round number 9. And since that moment, they missed the finals. They were out of the top 8, losing games against sides that they easily shouldn't have been losing. But since that moment, they have not been winning games. They have only won 4 games from their last 15, which is a horrible record considering they've had the 3 this year and then the 12 losses last year. Now, there are a lot of different things to blame for this. Now, the first one is Jason Demetriou. Jason Demetriou has been under pressure for weeks, but some of the comments he's made out and come out saying that, you know, this is the lowest point in his career, but he's the man to turn this around. I mean, what have you done besides give players confidence for absolutely nothing? Now, look, Jason stuck his head out there a few years ago and he chose to not re-sign Adam Reynolds and bring Lachlan Ilias in as that starting halfback. And Ilias defensively, man, he's a very good halfback defensively, but some of the attacking decisions sometimes are poor. But Jason just doesn't stick with his decisions and needs to be harsher on his players, especially his senior players. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, you're thinking the same thing as me, or you're thinking don't say his name. But I'm talking about Latrell Mitchell. Now, I think last year was very tough on Latrell due to injury. It wasn't his fault. But the amount of hype, which also to an extent is not his fault, he does talk himself up in moments. But for the most part, this is commentators, this is coach, this is officials, this is just, you know, this media circus built on this man. And I think Rabbitohs players are expecting them to be pulled out of the fire and win every game on the back of him. Now, I don't think Latrell is playing anywhere near his potential, but honestly, to make some of the comments that he's made to say, you know, I owe South this, I'm going to do this in the last couple years, which has absolutely led to nothing, and then see him do, let's be honest, absolutely nothing this season. He had some okay moments there at Vegas, but this is your star fullback who you're paying the big bucks. I liked Latrell at the South Sydney Rabbitohs at the start. I think he is a centre. I don't think he's a fullback. I think that experiment is over. I think it was over a long time ago. I thought he was so good at the Sydney Roosters. Such a great young player. Love watching him in the centres. Love watching him kick field goal. He is not the only problem for South Sydney, but he is a massive problem. And you can see that senior players are starting to expect everything. Watching him last night get exposed against the Sydney Roosters there, not even taking runs and just standing behind the play of the ball at dummy half, pointing direction, going, you go there, Alex, things like that. You go watch the game and the direction. It looked absolutely awful. Then you had the sin bin on James Tedesco for, you know, stepping on him and taking him out there. Again, it's a 50-50 call, but deservedly went to the bin. Some of the decisions and aggression from both Latrell and Walker there, you know, leads to some big moments in South Sydney. But these players, when they're on, man, they're on. But before you talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And that's why something has to be done. And honestly, Latrell deserves a spot in reserve grade right now. Like, honestly, this team has gone 0-3. This team has done nothing. And this team, I think its fans deserve better. I think the South Sydney Rabbitohs are such a big club, a successful club. They're now at the bottom of the ladder for the first time in 40 years. That's really strange when you've got teams like the West Tigers, the Gold Coast Titans, the Canterbury Bulldogs. Obviously, the Bulldogs, at the time of filming this, they just got the win. But they're another team that have been in struggle street for a long time. I want to talk a little bit about Dean Hawkins. Now, Dean Hawkins last night, I thought he was okay. I thought that some of his decision making was a little bit poor, but it was only his second or third game in NRL, so I can't expect much from him there. The Roosters, though, they did a great job on putting pressure on him. So as for Dean, I don't necessarily think he's the starting halfback for South Sydney. I know he's a great New South Wales Cup player. It's hard to judge him though off that one game. And if I'm Jason Demetriou, look, I'm probably giving Ilias that other week to see how Dean goes this week against a weaker side, obviously in the Bulldogs compared to the Roosters. But Lachlan Ilias, for mine, he's getting so hard done by. Very similar to the Kyle Flanagan situation a few years ago when he was at the Sydney Roosters got rid of him, and then I remember they handled that situation quite poorly. Obviously, long term it has worked in their favour, but at the time handled very poorly. But South Sydney have a tough draw coming up as well. Let's not forget that they have the Warriors, the Storm, the Sharks, and the Panthers in the next 5 weeks. They take on the Bulldogs, and then they've got some tough opponents. You add to that the Cowboys. I'm pretty sure, I think they might even play the Seagulls in about 7 or 8 weeks. I could be mistaken there, but this is a hella tough draw. And this team got absolutely blown off the park by the Roosters, who, the Roosters are expected to be a pretty good team this year. They look great. Dominic Young was fantastic. Joey Manu, James Tedesco was great. But I'm not here to talk about the Roosters. I'm here to talk about when the hell are the Rabbitohs going to win a game, because right now they take on a Bulldogs side that has had confidence off a win at Belmore, whereas South Sydney are doing absolutely nothing about it. I think the right decision was getting rid of Richie Kennar. Obviously, you kind of had to play him because you didn't have any depth within the side, but my God, he was awful in that first 2 weeks for South Sydney. Now, Jack Whiten, a little bit of a shining light. I thought he looked good defensively. I thought he was getting very involved, getting a few touches there at South Sydney. Koloamatangi, I thought he was good, running the ball hard, getting involved in the game where possible. Cameron Murray, we always speak about him. So there are, some very positive moments from South Sydney. But honestly, man, if you're not going to drop Latrell, which I don't think they're going to do, I don't think they're able to do, then you absolutely have to grab this man and say, go out there and play football. Because the thing is, it's ruining other aspects of the game. If you guys listen to footy on the radio via Triple M, the best way to listen to football, they have been banned from doing post-match interviews. Why? Because Latrell Mitchell went up and swore at the commentary team. But no, Latrell's not the one getting sanctioned. It's Triple M not doing those interviews. And now he's been told not to do interviews entirely, which fair enough. I guess from the NRL, that's their choice. But my God, don't push the blame onto Triple M. But I really don't have any answers right now for this club. And to sit in 17th and to have these opponents coming up, this is going to get really tough. So stick in there, Rabbitohs fans. Hopefully, some changes are made. Some players absolutely pull their finger out and put in some great performances. We all want to see these rugby league players play football. These players that especially right now are, considered as role models, faces of the game. You want to see them do their best. You don't want to see them make silly decisions. You don't want to see them in the sin bin, things like that. So, but my God, South Sydney's season this year is very questionable. It's early days. It's almost time to hit that panic button. I'd be hitting it. However, I consider that there is a lot of football to be played, but I think Jason Demetriou is under huge pressure right now, and I think the comments he's made doesn't give me, if I was a South Sydney fan, it wouldn't give me any confidence, any happiness towards those comments in the future of my club, because I think he could be the coach for at least another 2 years. So guys, South Sydney Rabbitohs currently sitting in 17th. Obviously a lot of different factors. Let me know in the comments what you think about these factors. If you disagree with me and think I'm wrong, go sound out in the comments. Absolutely, you can do that. Like, this is an open forum here to speak about this. But man, I expected a lot more from this club. I'm sure you guys did. I know a lot of people had them top 4. I had them just outside the top 4 in 5th position for my ladder prediction. But right now, I probably have them around 9th or 10th. I think they still will gain some momentum in the back half of the year. But really, really poor, really exposed by the Roosters. And, not much is being done at all. Not much is being said, the right things from the coach, and a lot of pressure on this team right now. So where do you think the Rabbitohs will finish in 2024? Will they, turn this around? Will they win the grand final? It'd be crazy. The biggest turnaround ever if they manage to do it. Does anyone think they can do it? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think the issue with South Sydney is as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll see you guys tomorrow for my Eels and Sea Eagles vlog.